Welcome to Everyday Superhumans, the podcast where we interview ordinary people who do extraordinary things. I'm your host, Kyle.
And I'm Caroline.
And today is a great day. It's the beginning of the new year and episode number 3 of our podcast.
Woo! You like that extra woo?
Yeah, it's New Year's. Why not?
I did an extra because now it's 2000. What?
16?
That's right.
And for those of you in the future, congratulations surviving past 2016, I guess.
Yes, kudos. And the ones living above and below us, hello. But today we talked to Donny Terrebonne.
Yeah, he's a local entrepreneur who accidentally turned his passion into a full-time business. And
he just stumbled into a bar.
In a way, well, he didn't stumble. He opened up a bar that he was planning on working part-time in, but immediately as soon as it took off, it became a full-time job. He had to quit his previous job to get to it, and now they've expanded to a larger venue since they first began.
And we frequent the bar quite a lot.
Oh yeah, it's actually a little production secret. Is after each interview we do, we always go hit up his bar, Witchcraft, to get a few drinks.
Yep,
as a celebration.
And he is not only a bar owner, he's a family man, and he's just a really down-to-earth, chill guy that can get along with everybody and is a great icon in the community.
Yeah, very. This guy, I didn't go to this bar for 3 months. He still knew my name when I got back. He's the friendliest guy I've ever met.
Mm-hmm. Memory.
Yep.
Some people have it, some people don't.
Yep, and I don't.
That's
all right. Well, anyways, let's get to the podcast. This is Everyday Superhumans, episode number 3. Donny Terrebonne, Master of Witchcraft.
Tell us what witchcraft is all about.
Basically, it's just it's a craft beer bar, obviously, but it's about, in my opinion, it's about getting people to venture out of their norm and to try something new. I don't know how else to explain it, I guess.
No,
that's basically the gist of it, just to, step out of what you're used to and try something new and, venture out a bit.
It really helps bring people together, in my opinion, craft beer.
Yeah, it does.
Actually, kind of like a dirty little secret of like why I chose my apartment complex when I first moved to Homa is because it's the closest apartment complex to Witchcraft that we could drive back and forth and not worry about being a little bit too buzzed to drive back home.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a struggle at first because people were not necessarily open to it because, down here it's a really close-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, are very steeped in tradition as far as their upbringing goes and whatnot. So a lot of people were kind of just predisposed to always drinking Budweiser or Miller or Coors. And no disrespect to those guys, but the thing is they did it because that's what their dads did and that's what their uncles did, and they just were very close-minded about trying something different because, like I said, it's just a traditional style culture around here that people tend to just follow. So getting people to step out of their comfort zone and try something new was a challenge at first, but, with just like anything else, especially with, the Cajun heritage, is if you try to explain to people, I'm sure your grandmother makes the best gumbo or jambalaya or whatever. And if I try to tell you different, you're going to disagree with me.
Yeah.
Because, that's your grandma, that's her food, and that's what you believe. So my thing is, why are you letting the TV tell you what good beer is? Just try something new. If you don't like it, hey, it's no big deal. You tried it, move on with your life.
Yeah,
but
especially
for the most part, people, once they start trying it, they just keep moving further and further into it. And we have actually a really... 3 years into it now, we have a really large craft beer following here in our community, and it's only growing. I'm
really surprised. Like, it seems like it's a recent thing down here, the craft beer community, but it seems to be growing fast. Like, you have the Bayou Beer Fest, you have the Bayou Beer Society on top of that runs it.
Right.
And then you have Witchcraft. And from what we actually talked to Joel Omer a couple weeks ago, and it sounds like that the craft beer thing is like a new revolution in a way in the small town of Homa.
I mean, as compared to the rest of the country, Louisiana is still very much in its infancy when it comes to craft beer because it's such a huge thing in every other part of the country. But Louisiana is coming along really nicely, where we had 25 years ago, we had one craft beer brewery, which was Abita. Here we are around 20 breweries in the state right now, and it's growing every day.
There's a lot of good ones. Like Mudbug has been one of my go-tos. It's something that needs to spread further, I think.
Oh, yeah, Mudbug is great.
Yeah. It's gotten into my veins, basically, and now I just go from one brewery to the next brewery.
So have you done any brewing yourself, any microbrewing?
No, I don't do any brewing.
No.
Basically, Witchcraft itself was a hobby for me that turned into a business. and it just happened at the right time, right place and time, and it worked out great so far. But I mean, I've always been a big craft beer fan, and this takes up all of my time, so I really don't have time to do anything.
You're running an awesome bar. How did you get into business then? If it's a hobby that became a business?
Well, basically, like I said, it was a hobby. I just always enjoyed craft beer. You know, I'm from Lower Lafourche Parish, and the first beer that we had that came into where we stayed at, where we live at, was a Killian's Irish Red. Okay, and it was the first beer that I've ever seen that wasn't Bud, Miller, or Coors. And I was like, "Oh, what is this?" So let's get a 6-pack. Let's take it home. Just be open-minded about it. So I tasted it, and I really, really loved it. So from then on, I just continued to always, keep my eyes open for different beers that I've never had before. And whenever I come across them, I'd pick them up and try them out. It was basically a decision to, sitting there one day, think to myself and say, "Hey, it would be really cool if I can get the types of beers that I really like in my area and share my experiences and my passion for this with everyone else who's not really getting any of it." So, I mean, that's basically where it got started. We sat down with distributors and talked to them, and got to find out what they were able to offer to us, and it just kind of was going to be a weekend thing, but it blew up so quick it just became a full-time thing.
I love your logo too.
Oh, thank
the
you.
Witchcraft logo.
Yeah, do you make that yourself?
Yeah, I did. Actually, it's more of a rough drawing. You can see it on my shirt right here. I sketched it on a bar napkin, and everybody liked it. Everybody liked it, and it stuck. This version here is a lot more cleaned up because it's cut out of vinyl. So they couldn't get the shading just right. They had to do kind of a hard copy of it right there.
It's kind of like the minimalist, like if there's an app, this is the logo would look
Definitely.
like. It's kind of more minimalist logo.
Basically.
See, and everything happens on a napkin. That's the first thing we did.
Our first
was
logo design was
on
a
a napkin.
too. We were designing logos.
I sat there and what you see here was the original right here. And I just sketched it out on a napkin. I said, "Look, this is kind of what I have in mind." And everybody's like, "Hey, that's perfect. Let's use that." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm going to clean it up and make it look a lot nicer. But this is, this direction I want to go in." And they're like, "Well, no, we want to use this one." So there it is.
Wow.
All right, first
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
So when did you officially go from it being a hobby to a business? When did that happen to you?
The first day that Witchcraft opened at our old location was April 28th of 2013. And
what made you decide to let's just open up a bar instead of just drinking craft beer with friends?
I mean, basically, it was going to be a secondary job for us, just to make a little extra pocket cash, and get something started. And we had friends of the family, had the restaurant there, and they weren't using their bar, so they allowed us to come in and give it a shot without really taking any risk. So we just bought a cooler, and we got a few beers in the cooler, and we set up a Facebook page, and told people, "Hey, this is what we're going to be doing." And we announced the first day that we opened up, we announced that we were opening for people to come in, have some beers and whatnot. And within 20 minutes, the place was full. And we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And it just, I guess we hyped it enough on Facebook that people got excited about it. So whenever we opened up, they all just kind of showed up in droves. And my full-time job, I was working in the oil field. The company I was working for, I told them that I was opening this bar, and they were cool with it, no big deal. But then whenever they saw how much time I was
devoting
getting
yourself
pulled away from it, they were like, "Well, you know what, man, not that we don't like you, but we're going to have to let you go because, we need somebody who can be more reliable to us," which was understandable, of course.
Decision, yeah.
So it just, at that point, just became a full-time thing. And, I mean, I think it was more of a blessing in disguise that it happened that way because I was able to devote all my time into making it really grow.
And you really
certainly
love
have.
it, too. It's your baby,
It is.
basically.
It
You're
is.
probably working 24/7 on it.
Pretty much, yeah. If I'm not here, I mean, for the most part, I'm always here. And when I'm not here, I'm at home with the wife and kids, and they get aggravated with me because I'll be sitting on my computer searching beers and looking for beers and reading about beers and trying to get new beers. And it's a full-time passion.
How hard is it to get new beers? I've heard that distribution is kind of crazy when it comes to beer.
Yeah, I mean, the government is set up on a 3-tier system when it comes to alcohol, so I can't
What's a
just
3-tier
go.
system?
It's basically a government-regulated system in order to keep track of everything for tax purposes. So basically, it goes from brewery to distributor to retailer.
Okay.
And there's no crisscrossing in any of that.
So nobody could own all that stuff, or what do you mean by no crisscrossing?
Like,
you can't do brewery to...
Let's say, for instance, if there's a particular keg that I needed from Mudbug, I can't just go to Mudbug and get that keg.
You can't?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
I have to get it from my distributor.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's a government-regulated system. Same thing, like, say, if there's a brewery right next door in Mississippi, it's 2 hours away to cross the Mississippi state line and get
You
to
just
this
go there
brewery.
yourself, but
And they don't distribute here to Louisiana. I can't just go to that brewery or just go to one of their distributors and get the beer. I have to get what my distributors here in my region offer, and that's where I'm held
man,
at.
that sucks.
It
So,
is
are
what
there
it
any
is.
beers that you really want to get here, but no
Oh
distributors
yeah,
have done it?
tons of them.
Really?
Oh yeah.
From all across. What's a beer? What's the elusive beer that you really want?
I mean, Dogfish Head is a big player. Everyone wants Dogfish Head. Yingling, of course. Everyone wants Yingling, which, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be here pretty soon. Some of my other favorites are Weyerbacher Brewing, Smutty Nose Brewing, Great Divide,
Yeah, if I could divide before.
Allagash, McSorley's, Widmer Brothers.
Crap.
I could go on and on.
Just like, have you had is Breckenridge on that list by any chance?
Breckenridge,
That is
sure.
my favorite brewing company.
The Shoots has really good beer. They're out of the northwestern part of the country. Three Floyds Brewing is great.
And we just like do an entire podcast with you just
Yeah.
listing all these off.
Yeah.
We don't even need to talk. You can just
Keep on
continue
listening.
to
Yeah, I could go on
list
and on.
off all the
So
breweries.
it's hard to find all that stuff. I find a distributor could do it.
It
So
is.
have you? Oh,
No,
have
go
you
on.
thought of doing a beer road trip throughout the U.S.? That would be an amazing idea to go from
I mean,
like
I
one
haven't-
point to one point.
Yeah, I would love to do that if I had the time and money
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
it. I'm hoping to get to that point
But-
eventually. But
yeah.
my family and I do take a vacation at least once a year.
Mm-hmm.
Me, the wife, and the kids, and we'll go somewhere different. And anywhere we go, it's always an understood thing that we're going looking for beer also. So whether we go to, we go to Tennessee frequently, we go to Florida frequently. We've been to Colorado, the Carolinas, and I'm always and it's not only get to our destination and look for beer. It's what can we find along the way? What can we find along the way back? And we'll come back with $500-600 worth of beer a lot of
crap.
times.
So
Yeah.
in a few years, I can expect a guidebook from you. All right.
Sure, absolutely. I could probably draw one up for you right now.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun to like,
Probably.
document that though, like on YouTube, like through a blog, like rating beers across the country as you're traveling. That'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, that would be
That's
cool.
something that I would like to do. Actually, I should do that.
I mean, but for me, as of right now, I have young kids,
Yeah.
so traveling is not as easy as I would like it to be with
Yeah.
school and everything. So it's a once-a-year thing.
It's just the small things, too. I bet there were a lot of small obstacles that you have to face as a business owner.
There are. I mean, like with a lot of, it's as far as opening a bar, there's a lot of red tape you have to go through as far as
yeah.
permitting and things like that. But, I mean, I can't really complain about that because there are thousands of bars all over the country. Everybody goes through it, so it's just a part of the business. I guess my biggest obstacle is when it comes to getting certain specialty beers that are out on limited release. The distributors do try their best to, give everyone in the market their fair shake at it. So sometimes, the little guy may get left out. So we do our best to get our hands on everything we can. Sometimes we miss, and it kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
But you still get your hands on those firkins a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, the
Which-
Firkins are easy to do, though. That's not a big deal.
firkins are like a specialty release, right?
Right, it's basically a batch of beer that a brewery will make as a one-time only deal.
Okay.
And they'll send it out and kind of, see what the response is from people.
So it's
Okay.
kind of like
I had no idea, so there you go.
yeah. Do you still do Firkin Fridays every Friday or
We do a Firkin Friday like once a month.
once a month?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think next month we'll have it twice.
Oh, awesome! I'll be here. So, with owning a business, how did you get to grow so quickly? Since you've been open for 2 years now, and you've already
It'll be
moved to a
3
new
years
location?
at the end of
Oh,
April.
3 years.
Basically, our clientele, people who are just becoming more and more open-minded, and it was more planting that seed in just a handful of people and getting them excited about it and having them go out and telling their friends and their family members and dragging them out, and then the same reciprocation from those people with their friends and family members. It just keeps on coming out, and we do our best to with our Facebook and Instagram to always keep everyone informed of what's going on here.
I didn't know you had an Instagram.
We do.
We will follow you.
We do.
She loves Instagram. I can't get into Instagram. It's like the only
But
I
basically, we post all the same things on Facebook and
Oh, okay.
Instagram. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're looking at our Facebook, you're seeing the same thing.
I think
Yeah.
it definitely helps that you have such like a unique bar in like a smaller area. That way you have less competition, so it really helps you grow. You said you
Right.
already have like people asking you to franchise already, I think you told me?
We have had people contact us about franchising, and I'm not saying that it's something that we won't do, but as for right now, we're just trying to, wrap our heads around what we're doing here and, get all of this running smoothly. Since we're in a new location, there are still some bugs to work out. There are still some growing pains that we need to get through, but once we get to that point, we will, look closer into the franchising aspect of it.
And I bet
awesome.
there's a lot of things that happen so quickly too that it becomes very overwhelming.
Oh yeah, it
so
does.
do you have any advice for business owners or entrepreneurs that they're really excited and then all of a sudden all these good things happen to them and they don't even know how to strategize? Like, how did you keep a sane head during all of the process?
I honestly don't know. I mean, with the help of my wife and my business partner, we all just kind of take it as it comes and do the best we can with it.
You seem like a pretty chill guy for running your own business, though. Like, every time I come here, you just, like, always chill, like, ready for conversation with anybody.
I mean, I think that's a big part of it also is, the atmosphere that we set up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by far. I have such a huge, like, personal issue with loud bars. I have, like, constant live music playing.
Yeah.
I like to sit down and drink and talk because the more I drink, the more I like to talk.
And that's what we want here. We want people to come here and be comfortable and be able to talk to each other and enjoy themselves and enjoy the beer, talk about the beer. But at the same time, we do want to offer, an adult atmosphere where you can, let your hair down. And, if you want to get loud, get loud.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. If you want to crank up some music, we'll crank up some music. We have a bunch of guys coming in early today to watch a football game. We're here to accommodate anybody for any reason. And we try to make it feel like home whenever you're here. That way, you want to come back and hang out with us again.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
No, and it's a great way to know the community, too.
Sure.
I bet
I've made tons of friends doing this.
So many people now from starting your own business.
I guess it's one of the fortunate things with running a bar is you don't have to follow any specific business protocol when it comes to dealing with your clientele. It's basically just be yourself and have fun with them. And I'm a really relaxed kind of guy. I like to sit down and talk and tell stories and joke around and just have fun like anybody else. And I guess the cool thing about it is I get to do it for a living.
Yeah. I think that's like why we every time whenever we record one of these episodes is that we love to come here afterwards, just like to relax from everything and just have a few beers to celebrate what we did.
As a victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this is also the only bar in Homa that I don't mind going to by myself because it is such an inviting atmosphere. Plus, it's a RA craft beer bar, so you say like, "Where are you drinking?"
Sure.
It's instant conversation right there.
And people will always talk to you too. It's a great inviting community once you walk in the door.
You did a great job.
We actually have a lot of people that have come through here. Like women, for instance, who say, I really like coming here because this is the one place that I can come to that my husband doesn't have a problem with. He's not worried about me getting, taken advantage of or hit on or whatever. It's a home style atmosphere and it's a comfortable atmosphere. And the same thing with the men. They come out here, they have fun. Their wives don't worry about them because they've been to witchcraft. They see what it's like. They know what it's. It's not that type of place. We try to be more of an upscale place, which sounds kind of ironic. But it's but I mean, we try to be accommodating to everyone for every reason, and just make it a comfortable atmosphere where people can feel safe and just have a good time.
As a woman too, it is hard to go to a bar alone. Usually, I don't feel comfortable going to a bar alone because somebody may. I don't know who's going to talk to me, but coming here always seems like just a nice environment to be a part of.
And I think the cool thing about it is we have, so many regulars that come through here that really enjoy what we do, that make friends with you also because they see you here frequently. So you're not only coming here and getting an inviting atmosphere from us as owners, but from our patrons also who just come in here and they're all like one big happy family because they all met here and they all have a common interest and they have a lot of fun hanging out with each other.
I bet the Top Hat Club really helps too. And the Top Hat Club is you drink 100 beers and you get a free shirt. And
you drink 100 different bears with us and you get on the wall, you get your name on the plaque.
What was the inspiration behind that? Because that's a really clever idea to have like reoccurring customers. Like that's what, like when I first came here, I was like, that's an awesome idea. I kind of slowed down my beer drinking after a while.
I mean, I'm going to call it what it is. It's a sales gimmick.
It works though. Yeah. I mean, it got me coming back a lot.
Yeah. And, it also helps people to broaden their horizons. They it helps them to step out, out of their comfort zone and try something different.
And
yeah,
then-
it definitely it really encourages that.
Yeah.
I could come here all the time and like buy a Shiner or a Guinness if I want to, but you're like,
Right.
wait, have I had that one before? Oh wait, I have. Ah, crap,
Yeah.
I need to get something else.
And, I've seen a lot of people do that also. They're like, I really want to get this shirt. I really want to be on the wall. So I don't really like all of these beers, but I'm going to go ahead and suffer through it. That way I can, do this accomplishment. But usually halfway through, they're like, man, I found a bunch of different beers that I really like now. So they kind of surprise themselves and also change their mindset at the same time to wanting to try new beers because they force themselves to do it at first and realize, I really like this, And some people, they'll go through the 100 and be like, you know what, I don't want to go any further because I just want to come in here and drink whatever I want to drink. That's fine also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's holding you to it. You don't have to drink according to your list. Just come in here and do whatever you feel like doing. Have fun. We do have, once you get past the Top Hat 100 club, we have a 250 club, and then we have a 500 club. Now, at the 250 club, you get like a garage shirt, button-up shirt with your name patch.
Oh, I need to get one of those. I need to drink
I
more.
like those,
Yeah,
actually.
witchcraft patch on it. Once you get to 500, you get your own personal plaque with your name on it, and it says 500. It says Witchcraft World Traveler, your name, and then it says a little plate with 500. We have one guy who is getting really close to finishing his 1,000, actually.
Holy crap.
Whoa.
So we're
Are
going to
these
change.
all unique beers too?
Yeah, different. I mean, per page you have to have 100 different beers, but if you
Yeah.
repeat, a beer from one page to the other, that's fine.
Okay, so it's
I was like
1,000
1,000
unique
beers.
beers.
There's 1,000 beers here to try.
Yeah,
Not here.
How many
no.
beers?
Yeah, how many do you have at a time?
Somewhere over 400.
Jesus.
Yeah. But we're always rotating stock. We're always getting in new beers, retiring beers that don't sell as well, bringing in new seasonals, getting rid of old seasonals. So
And I guess the
we always
Firkins
have
up too.
breweries that are moving into Louisiana. Like, for instance, Bell's Brewing is moving into Louisiana in 2016. So, there's always that going on also.
Now, do people come in and actually order liquor?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
We do have people who come in here that aren't beer fans. They here with their buddies or whatever, so they want to drink something different. We try to cater to them as much as we can. We try to keep high-end sipping whiskeys and, stuff like that. We try to keep wine for the ladies and stuff who enjoy that. But we bought our whiskey stock whenever we first opened, and we still pretty much have all of it because not very many people come in for hard liquor.
Maybe if you did a Top Hat club with whiskey too, you could have a second round of lists happening. Do like 25 instead.
We're a beer bar.
Just an idea. I would. I like whiskey a lot too. So
I love bourbon. I'm a big bourbon fan.
I'm a Scotch guy. I like Scotch. Like there's this Scotch bar in Plano, Texas that I used to go to all the time.
Well, you can have my share because I'm not a Scotch
And my
guy.
share as well.
Yeah.
You can have all
All
the
right, I'll
scotch
take it up
you
before we
want.
leave then.
I like gin, actually.
Gin person.
I like it. So I need your help, actually.
Okay.
I need your help a lot. But because I'm going to Europe and I'm going to Ireland and London and Scotland. So just try everything that I can. What's your advice on that?
Ireland, you're going to want to obviously get a Guinness because you'll never
Yeah.
get a fresher, better tasting Guinness than you will in Ireland. O'Hara's also has really good product. You said London? Mm-hmm. London, London Pride, what's that? Fuller's. Fuller's is probably one of my favorites out of London. They have the London Pride, their porter. They have an ESB. It's really great. There's a ton of really, great breweries out in that area. Also, where else are you going to?
Scotland.
Scotland.
All the Scotch.
Red McGregor,
Really?
the Orkney Brewery out of Scotland. It's a great brewery. They have really, really good stuff. Also, what's the name of them?
I know I'm going on a historical tour, and it's a walking tour. And so you get to walk out all the alcohol that you probably just
Right.
intaked on your... Well, you also learn about the history of London, which is good, too.
Right. You got me stumped now. I want to know. There's a Scottish brewery that you have to try, and it's...
I don't know any
Good thing
Scotch
for
breweries.
iPhones or
Yeah.
Androids.
Hang on. Give
Yep.
me 1 second.
Android's better. Just gonna say that.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Brewdog.
best.
Brewdog out of Scotland.
Oh yeah, I've heard Brewdog.
Ah.
They do,
They're London?
They do that. They're out of Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. Okay.
They do that TV show called Brewdogs, and they travel around and do different beers with different breweries and stuff, but their in-house stuff is phenomenal. Really good beers.
What about, okay, I have a recent obsession with Canada. And are there any good Canadian beers that you would?
The ones I'm familiar with are Molson Canadian, Moosehead,
Oh yeah.
and there's a French Canadian brewery that I'm familiar with called Dieu du Ciel, which means God of the Heavens. They have phenomenal beers also.
Nice. All right. Because I also want to take a trip there sometime. I don't know when because I am poor.
So, when it came to starting up a craft beer bar down here, like you said, like if I'll, how do you get people to like say open up their taste and like even just come here in the first place? Since you said that you advertise on Facebook, but how did that like turn into I want to try the 100 beers you have in the fridge today?
Basically, it's whenever we started doing it, we appealed to the people who, which was a small amount at the time, people who wanted to come in here and get the different craft beers because, there was, a craft beer following already. So whenever we opened up, it was an easy thing to get those guys in here to drink the different beers. So and basically, it's been evangelized since then. They go out and they tell their buddies and they tell their buddies and they tell their buddies.
Word
and
of
people
mouth.
word of mouth. People just keep showing up.
I like that term, evangelize. I think that describes the beer fest pretty well down
That's
here.
true.
Which the beer fest, like from what I've heard, distributors will sign on people down here, like that they come down here for the beer fest, and then they sign them on. Have you taken any beers from the beer fest to your stock?
Nope.
No, you just kind of take whatever you feel like is good at the time.
Yeah, we just.
And I feel like with a Facebook page or any sort of social media, they can like the page, but then will they actually go to your product or listen to it? Because, you have a lot of, just with our own experience, you have a lot of people that support you, but will they actually show up? But then it's a risk that you're willing to take because then there's a reward at the end.
Right.
When you see those faces.
Sure. I mean, I think basically for us, it was just, right place at the right time. Because if we would have tried doing this 10 years ago, it wouldn't have worked, Our area wasn't ready for something like it. And
I guess it helps that Homa's getting a lot more outsiders lately.
Sure.
Like her and I are both from Texas and St. Louis, respectively.
Right. And I mean, so Homa, for this region is a central hub for all the outlying areas. People are always here for shopping, for dining. Like, for instance, I live in Lower Lafourche Parish. We have nothing. Nothing. We don't have, we have like, a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Taco Bell. We have a Wow now, a Wingery, which just opened about a month ago. But that's about it.
That's it.
We don't, like, as far as shopping goes, you can go to Walmart. That's it.
And that's scary.
Right.
Scary.
If you need to go to a mall or whatever, or a department store, the closest place to come is Homa. And, it's the same for a lot of these outlying areas, too. Like Thibodaux or out west, to Morgan City area. They have to come here to get the things that they need that they don't offer where they live at. So, being here in Homa for us to open up was a no-brainer because, we have not only Homa business, but business from all the way around.
I think the namesake or Witchcraft is a great name for a bar in South Louisiana because you always associate, like, some people could associate South Louisiana with not really the occults, but like, I don't know, you think so, like stuff like the Diary of or Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, voodoo and stuff.
Yeah, voodoo stuff. So like, Witchcraft is just a great name. You told me before where that came from, but where did it come from again?
Basically, digging through the refrigerator and trying to decide which craft beer I'm going to drink next. So it's a play on words. We do have a lot of people who come in here looking for voodoo dolls and candles and things like that. We have people like, call about, stuff like that, robes. And didn't someone call you about a robe recently? About, and it's like, it's a play on words. It's not W-I-T-C-H, it's W-H-I-C-H.
It's
so
clever.
It's a question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, which craft do you want? And also with like the whole voodoo thing, you're just like, which craft? That's perfect.
We don't sell magic. We sell spirits.
That's good.
There you go.
Where's my drum set?
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I know,
Go
right?
ahead. Just need to pay us royalties now.
If you need any social media help, I'm the person.
So your favorite beer of all times, what do you got for that?
Favorite beer of all time.
If you had to drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Red Tail Ale.
Red Tail Ale?
From
I've never had that
Mendocino
one
Brewing out
before.
of California.
I never had it.
It's a great beer.
It's a great beer. It's
I love it.
Where's it from?
Mendocino Brewing out of California.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't had it.
Mendocino County. Mendocino
I've never
Brewing.
been there.
How about you? If you'd have one more beer,
Oh,
for the
dang.
rest of your life, what would
Really?
it be? Yeah,
And you know,
I'm just growing my craft beer
I had my answer for this one.
tally.
the thing about the red tail is it's not hard to get.
Oh,
It's not one of these elusive whales that you know. It's not distributed here right now, but it's just an average everyday beer that people are accustomed to on that side. I love it. I think it's the best. It doesn't
What
even
does
rate
it taste like?
It's a red ale. It's got a little
okay.
hoppiness to it, a little spice to it. I actually was sitting at home one night, had a mug of it, and I love smelling my beer as it warms up and all because it opens up and everything, and the flavors come out and the smells come out more. And I accidentally snorted some of it because I was smelling it real close, and my wife is sitting there and she's laughing her ass off at me. And she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Man, I snorted some beer and it's burning my head." And I put the beer down, and then finally the burn went away. And I still had beer dripping off of my nose. And she's like, "Aren't you going to wipe it?" And I was like, "No, this smells too good." And I stayed there for a minute just enjoying the smell. Before I finally wiped
Another
it.
way to consume beer other than drinking
Yeah.
it, snorting it.
That's another selling point, like beer aroma. There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, unless I'm not really fond of IPA beer aromas though. I'm more of I prefer the darker beer aromas. It smells more like coffee, which I like.
Yeah,
I love the smell of
an
coffee.
IPA is an acquired taste.
Yeah, it is.
A lot
It'll take me a while.
I've seen quite a few people who come in here and tell me, "Man, I absolutely hate IPAs, but I'm going to go ahead and drink a couple of them so I can get them on my list." And before long, they're coming in here saying, "Hey, man, what's your newest IPA? I love IPAs now."
Yeah.
Or same thing with sour beers. People weren't always.
Oh, I
accustomed
can't get
to
into sours. I'm
beers.
still acquiring that taste.
What
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, sours. They are. I don't know.
I haven't even heard of that.
I've had
before.
I had very few of them.
My wife does not drink beer. She is not a beer person. She does not like beer. She loves sours.
Huh.
Yep.
But before we go, I do want to ask you, like, for an aspiring entrepreneur out there who wants to start something that's like within their passion, like maybe from creating a podcast like we're doing to opening up a craft beer bar, like what's the big piece of advice you'd give that person, or maybe a small word of encouragement?
If I'm thinking if you're going to step out on that limb and make it happen and really take that risk, be sure in your heart that it's something that you love to do, because there is a tremendous amount of stress that comes with it, and doing what you love alleviates a lot of that at the end of the day, and you don't come to work hating what you do in the long run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've worked in the oil field for a long time before doing this, and there have been times where I've liked my job, and there have been times when I've absolutely despised my job, and it only got worse,
So, but
because it
this
wasn't
place,
this. I can get pissed off every now and then. Don't get me wrong, get aggravated, get stressed out, but at the end of the day, I still love it.
yeah, that's good. I guess as a tangent to that, about how many hours per week do you think you put into this job when you first started?
When I first started it was really slow, so not a whole lot.
So-
20-something to 30-something. Now, 3 years later, between working here and doing research at home and ordering beer at home and doing stuff for the company from home, probably close to 80 hours a week.
Holy crap! But I'm guessing you like everything though, because
Right.
this is like your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, basically, from the time I pass out around 2 a.m. to the time I wake up at 11 to come back and do it all over again.
Yeah.
It's
That's the only
hard.
time I'm not thinking about
Yeah.
beer.
It's hard to turn it off though. Once you're really
Yeah.
passionate about
Yeah.
something, it's something clicks in your brain and you just like keep on going back
Right.
and back to it.
And don't get me wrong, if we're going to go on a vacation or something as a family, the wife and the kids and all, I'm going to turn it off because I'm
Yeah.
going to go
Oh,
and
yeah.
have fun with my family. And I realize that, for my own, mental health, I need to step away from this.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, because
And,
Keep yourself
just
sane.
enjoy myself on some different
Yeah.
aspect,
Yeah.
some different plane.
it
And-
overwhelms
but,
you.
even, doing stuff like that, if we're going through a place like a restaurant or a store or, a souvenir shop or whatever, in a different state, and we pass by something cool, even my kids will say, "Hey, Dad, check out this beer. Have you had this before?"
Oh.
Or,
Oh, that's
you
so
know,
cute.
That's
because,
adorable.
yeah, they see it so much,
Yeah.
they're cool with it.
I want to meet your kids now. Just saying.
I have 3 little boys.
Oh,
Yep.
They're gonna be raised properly then.
Yeah.
Right.
None of them like beer yet, so but they still have plenty of time to grow into it.
Want to learn more about witchcraft? Check them out on Facebook and Instagram by searching for the names in the search bar.
Everyday Superhumans is produced by Kyle and Caroline and is recorded on location. Music is composed by Alex Allen.
Here's a question for you. What passion of yours would you like to bring into a business? Tweet to us at SuperhumansCast, write down on our timeline on Facebook.com/EverydaySuperhumans, and share a pic of your passion with us on Instagram at EverydaySuperhumans. And of course, you can always email it to us at everydaysuperhumans@gmail.com.
Like what you're hearing? If so, then sure to rate us on iTunes. That would be super of you. And remember, not every hero can fly, so grab your cape and let's go.
Wait, one more time. We gotta celebrate. Yeah, celebrate. All right. I don't think that's right.